Hello everyone and welcome. We're going to try out a new type of video today. We're going to do an unboxing. As you can see here, we have a box of Unified Minds, brand new, sealed up. Got a new set here. It's got well over 200 cards. Pokemon seems to like to do this now. We're just going to get right into it. It's a pretty exciting set. You got some cool new tag teams. You got some good new regular old GXs. One thing that this set represents, and it's a sad time in my life personally, is that it's the end of rotation now that this set's out. You have to excuse the cat. He feels neglected, even though I spent the last 45 minutes trying to love him so much. So, we got our 36 packs of cards. I'm going to set them off over here, just underneath. We'll get right to it. So the fun game is, how many hits am I going to get in this box, right? Well, so far, nothing. Okay. Pikachu, a Lickitung, Purloin, Magmar, Tynamo, green code card, Magneton, Hapu, Normalium Z, Metal Energy, Yippee. Latias is our rare, and Uxie is our reverse. Hapu could be a really nice card in the set. And you look at the top 6 cards of your deck, put 2 of them in your hand, discard the other cards. It could be one of those cards that's really good for like a Malamar deck. It could be really good for a number of different decks. Just depends on how. I don't think there's a lot of value in the Latias. Its first attack is very situational. It's kind of weird that says it's not affected by weakness or resistance. I don't believe anything currently resists Dragon in format. And then on top of it, Dragon doesn't hit anything for weakness. The Uxie, on the other hand, is interesting. Try to bring it a little closer here. Yeah, it's not going to work. Alright, so if you have Mesprit and Azelf in play, apply weakness for each Pokemon. It was quadruple as opposed to double. Now that could be interesting. I mean, that's a lot of bench space that you're talking about, that you have to deal with. You have to manage all that bench space. I don't personally think it's the right kind of card for me. But hey, some of us, it might be. You never quite know until you get into it. And for any of you that know me, organization is key. Keep your stuff organized. It's nice and easy to find it later. Or better yet, when one of your buddies, not naming names, Brad, Kenny, decide, hey, we need to borrow something. Do you have it? I don't know. Let me go take a peek. Another green code. It's unfortunate. Alright. As soon as I can get that, there we go. Grimer, Hoothoot, Carablast, Honedge, Pikachu. Tornadus has an uncommon, it's so weird. Bibarel. Great Potion. Stunfisk. And the Behem. I got a Fighting Energy to boot. Great Potion, healing 50 damage off our active GX. That's going to be a really good card for Reshizard. Instead of Mixed Herbs, I'm going to Greens Exploration for that and something else. It's pretty good. Behem. It's got that second attack down at the bottom. Mysterious Noise for triple colorless. Now it's in stage 1, so we can take advantage of triple colors. Deuce. We can take advantage of the triple colorless energy card. You swing for 90 damage. You shuffle it and everything attached to it back in your deck so you don't lose the triple colorless energy. And then your opponent can't play any item cards from their hand. Anybody remember Excelgor, deck and cover? Same deal. Just swings harder and hits for a far more relevant weakness than the Excelgor really did in its time. Now the only problem with it is without Choice Band or other damage modifying cards for psychic types, we run into that problem of we're still not one-shotting much of anything. But if you tell me that item lock is going to be a thing again and Behem's the way to do it, I would agree. We got a white code. Do we get something? Do we not? Yungoos, Yanma, Execute, Murkrow, Snover, Tornadus again, Unidentified Fossil, Vigoroth, Bounsweet. Latios GX is our first hit of the box. So it's got an ability. If you have 4 or fewer Pokemon in play, this Pokemon can't attack. It's kind of a weird ability. I don't like abilities like this. I never have. They just always seem to be completely counterintuitive, or you have to play a way to shut it off. To me, it's silly. It's got a pretty decent couple of attacks, though. Tag Purge, you're swinging for 120 for a reasonable cost of Psychic, double colorless. You do 120 damage, and then you prevent all damage done to this Pokemon from Tag Team Pokemon. Tag teams are going to be the biggest thing in the format, especially without ways to search out other types of Pokemon other than GXs, really. So it's going to be pretty big. And then it's GX attack, Clear Vision GX. For the rest of the game, your opponent can't use any GX attacks. That's incredibly powerful, potentially. I don't know that I would personally want to use that as my GX attack in the game. I think there are more effective things to do, such as, I don't know, taking a knockout. But is it interesting nonetheless? Absolutely. And right now, we're going into a format where interesting is what we have to work with. There's so much of the meta is undefined. We're going into a brand new format for Worlds with a rotation. So you never, it's a different world. We got a green code. Garmer, Hoot Hoot, Karrablast, Honus, Pikachu, nothing too exciting there. Noctowl, also not too exciting. Misty's Favor, semi-interesting. Basculin, not so interesting. Toss that water into side. Cosmog, not interesting. And the Archeops, not particularly interesting. Although, theoretically, and in some sort of expanded fossil deck, you could see this working with strong energy and swinging for nice numbers. I'd rather play it Machamp. Misty's Favor is semi-interesting. You search your deck for 3 supporter cards, put them in your hand. It goes nicely with Slowpoke Psyduck tag team, because they do damage based on the number of supporter cards. Now, one thing I noticed about this format is this set is, besides the fact there's way too many cards in it, there aren't much in the way of metal Pokemon, which is always something that there just simply isn't a lot of metal Pokemon in the game itself. Got a white coat. Onix, Fletchhinder, Snover, Murkrow, Execute, Caracosta, which could be semi-interesting, U-Turn Board, which is definitely interesting, Elgium, the Blacephalon killing Tapu Fini, and a Alolan Raichu. Not a bad pack. Caracosta is interesting because of its ability where your opponent's or Pokemon tool cards attached to the opponent's Pokemon have no effect. That's interesting. Its attack swings for a nice chunk of damage with a nice bulky HP of 160. U-Turn Board reduces your retreat by 1, but if it's discarded, it goes back to your hand instead, which is kind of nice. If Tapu Fini, its second attack, you swing for 1 water energy if your opponent has any Ultra Beast in play, and you one-shot Blacephalon. Pretty good. And then the Alolan Raichu, its first attack is interesting. You discard any number of electric energy attached to the Alolan Raichu, and then for each energy you discard, you choose one of your opponent's Pokemon and do 30 damage to it. I know, Deuce, it's absolutely incredible the kind of power that one energy attack theoretically does have. One thing I'm looking forward to seeing in future sets, not to say that this set's a bust or anything like that, I'm just saying one thing I'm looking forward to in new sets is, because they've taken away so many Pokemon search cards, what are they going to give us? They're going to give us Pokemon search, they're going to give us Pokemon draw. What kind of things like that are they going to give us that really, truly make kind of fill the voids of the last format, or are they just kind of going back to more of a Heart Gold Soul Silver type of feel, which was a format just before I started playing the game again, so I'm not overly familiar with it, and therefore I feel a little underprepared. We had a white code, Snorunt, Drillbur, Dwelbull, P-Dove, Munna, forgot to put that there, Lumineon, Pokemon Research Lab, which is going to be a very, very good card, Komala, Dratini, and then at the Hyper Secret Rare, whatever you want to call it, Gold Viridian Force, which looks pretty darn sharp. Yeah, it's me. We already know what Viridian Force does. It's in practically every deck that I've featured on the channel for a while now. Pokemon Research Lab is what I find kind of the most interesting pull of the pack, although, I mean, that's the most valuable. This is the most interesting. Once during each player's turn, that you may search your deck for 2 Pokemon that evolve from unidentified fossil, put them onto your bench, shuffle your deck. I get to just search my deck for free for Aerodactyl GX or regular Aerodactyl, whatever I'm playing? Okay. Yeah, you're going to tell me that's not a potentially broken card. Especially with some of the other fossil cards that exist. It could be very, very good in a very short period of time. I know one thing that me and the crew have been thinking is some sort of Behem fossil deck, where Aerodactyl GX is one of your main walls. It's got a nice bulky amount of HP. Its ability makes your opponent's attacks cost a little bit more. It could be very good. We got another white code. We're on a little bit of a streak here with them. Fomantis, Riolu, Purloin, Joltik, Dratini. Pyukumuku, Elgyem again. Fracture. Reverse Foil Noctowl. And then what might be one of the better GXs in the set, the Espeon Deoxys Tag Team GX. Psychic Club for 10 damage, plus 30 more for each damage for each of your bench Psychic Pokemon. So you're talking swinging max 160 in current format, which is going to one-shot anything Psychic Weak in format as far as I can think. And that's GX attack. For the same cost, you put 10 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like, but if you have 3 extra energy attached to it, you put 20 damage counters. 20 damage counters spread around on the board. You mean to tell me that you couldn't clean up a whole mess of things and probably win the game on that particular turn? I think you could. I really do. Another white code. Onyx Fletchinder, Snover, Murkrow, Execute. Dragonair, Cresselia, Delmise, Yanma, and a Magnezone. Magnezone is dual type. Okay. Well, according to its ability, it's both electric and metal typing. Which, I don't know how that's going to help a whole heck of a lot. Its attack is not bad, though. For Psychic double colors, you just swing for 120, then you put a trainer card from your discard pile back in your hand. It's not horrible. Kind of lackluster, though. I mean, if it swung for like 140, something that you could actually, I don't know, one-shot a tag team with that kind of damage, then I'd be all about it. So far, we got the 3 hits. The Latios GX Full Art, the Viridian Forest Gold, and the Espeon Deoxys. I'm actually going to keep them down here in this corner. Kind of keep them. No. Too shiny. It's all too shiny. Let's keep them there. No big deal. Green code this time. Hoothoot, Scraggy, Numel, Tynamo, Poipole, Mesprit, Bugcatchers, Giant Bomb, which is a card I'm really fascinated with, Drifloon, and the Xurkitree, which is kind of like new Buzzwole, but Electro Power, because it's a good card. So, just like Buzzwole from Forbidden Light, you do 30 plus 90 after a certain number of prize cards. Instead of 4, your opponent has to be at, it's your opponent's at 3 for the Xurkitree. Giant Bomb, if you take 180 or more damage from an attack, you put 10 damage counters on your opponent's attacking Pokemon. I mean, if you know what you're playing against and your opponent's, in a spot where they got to swing for that kind of number, or they're just forced to swing for that kind of number, think Reshizard. You hit him with the Giant Bomb. Sets yourself up. Your math kind of checks out a little bit. You're talking good. Bugcatcher is a little underwhelming. Draw 2 cards, flip a coin. If heads, draw 2 more cards. It's kind of another mediocre supporter that they're printing because they took away so much of our stuff that we like. Can you tell I'm a little salty about it all? And I'm just going to miss Nest Ball and Ultra Ball so much. Like Guzma's good and everything, green code. But I'm going to really miss Ultra Ball and Nest Ball because I've always had cards like those since I've been playing. Alright, nothing too exciting there. The Breloom. People think this Breloom could be real good. Dribbler, Magmortar, and a Recycle Energy. So this is something I also think Pokemon's going to be doing a little bit more. Printing special energies like this. Recycle Energy, if it's discarded from play, you put it back into your hand instead of the discard pile, which is pretty good. And then the Breloom, You pair it with the Amoonguss, which I'm sure I will pull at some point in time here. I believe the Amoonguss, actually, you know what? I have one over here. Its ability, I believe, when you evolve into it, you put your opponent to sleep and poison them, I want to say. Oh, gotta love that dead air. Just sitting there wondering, where is this card? Because I know I pulled it. There we go, Amoonguss. Whenever you play a Pokemon that has the Spore attack from your hand, such as the Breloom, from your hand during your turn, you may leave your opponent's active Pokemon asleep and poisoned. So that combined with the Breloom attack saying 30 damage. If your opponent's active Pokemon is asleep, this attack does 90 more damage. It's pretty darn good. Target swinging for 120 with a non-GX attacker. Poison, it's going to put them at 110 or 130. And they're asleep, so they got to flip out of it, or they got to find a way to get out of it. Not the easiest thing to do anymore, now that we do not have Guzma to assist us in that endeavor. Another green code. Doesn't mean we can't get something good out of it. Tag Switch, Cherish Ball. Wow, good trainer pulls. Riolu and a Lucario. Alright, so these two bad boys are going to change the format a lot. Cherish Ball, it's a search for Pokemon GX, which is something we really need in a search card like that. Tag Switch, move 2 energy from one of your tag team Pokemon to another one of your Pokemon. That's incredibly powerful as well. Think about you're playing Pikarom. You get a Pikarom that gets attacked. You're like, cool. You retreat to the bench for the Zeraora, obviously. You use the full Blitz last turn on a bench Pikarom or an Alolan Raichu in this case, or a Double Chew. Promote it. Tag Switch. So now it's and then you attach from hand. Now you're using Alolan Raichu and Raichu GX's GX attack for the full effect. And you're just blowing something up. Oh, also got the Lucario in there where your tag teams take 10 or 20 less damage. And it does stack. So that could be something that I don't know where it's going to be a good fit, but it'll be in something somewhere, and it'll be very appreciated. Green code. Cragnole, we're going to talk about him a little bit. Nope, I went out of order. So we got another Magnezone. The Excadrill is not overly exciting, but the Cragnole, water energy, 10 damage. Your opponent can't play item cards from their hand. Who knows? I mean, there's no damage modifying cards really in the format right now, unless you count Giant Bomb and Spell Tag, but Cragnole can't take advantage of Spell Tag. So I don't know how good a card that does 10 damage but item locks is going to be. Quite frankly, I don't think it's going to be very good. It doesn't have the resources that something like Seismitoad EX had back in the day, where it had bats and lasers and all that kind of good stuff. Got another green code. I'm going to try to speed things up a little bit. Oranguru. Alright. So, we have Stadium Nav. Flip 2 coins for each head, search your deck for Stadium, put it in your hand. You can grab your Prism Star Stadium with it. Could be pretty good card. I mean, for decks that play multiple different stadiums, like I can see Raichu playing 3, maybe even 4 different types of stadium cards in a deck. That could be very helpful. Weakness Guard Energy is another one of those special energies that has a unique effect. It's kind of replacing something that we don't have in the format right now, where it eliminates weakness while providing 1 colorless energy. Not terrible. This Unfezant, however, is terrible. I'm not going to spend any time discussing it. Kind of hoping for another hit here since I got something to really kind of dig into and chew into for discussion purposes. Even though it's a very one-sided discussion, let's face it. I'm on this side of the camera and everybody out there is watching in YouTube land. Got a white code this time. So nothing too exciting right now. The Lurantis is semi-interesting. We got a Xurkitree as our reverse. And then the Frostlass. We like Frostlass. Spiteful Sigh, 20 times damage. You put up to 7 damage counters on this Pokemon. It has 80 HP. The attack does 20 times for each damage counter you placed in this way. You combine that with Hustle Belt, because Hustle Belt's damage modification checks after you place your damage counters. You're swinging for a lot of damage. And then, let's just say, for instance, the Frostlass survives. You can then pile 7 more damage counters on it, because at that point in time, it's going to get knocked out at the end of the turn, but not until after your attack resolves. It can do some serious damage. Again, I don't know where it fits just yet. I just know that it's going to be an interesting card. Looks like we're getting about a third or so of the way through, maybe a little more. Green code. Nothing too exciting there. Audino, semi-interesting. The why not? I mean, I like what they did with the baby Pokemon in the set. They gave them all abilities that are just very goofy. Scrafty's of no value to me. If you ask, it's just not very good. Audino, however, if it's the active Pokemon, you can draw an extra card. Could be useful. I can see certain decks with high mobility taking advantage of something like that to get extra cards. Because we're in a format where the more you can draw, I think the better off you are. And there's a card printed that I'll show you later if I don't pull it, that I think is going to make a huge difference in the format. It's not quite to the effect of certain cards that allow us to draw too many cards. Green code. And Zoroark GX is what I'm talking about. Alright, so here's the Amoonguss again. The attack is a little lackluster, because it's only going to swing for 90 damage. Potentially, I should say, because it's Venoshock. It does more damage if your opponent's active Pokemon's poison. But the ability is very, very strong on the Amoonguss. I can't think of other Pokemon that have Spore. I'm sure there's something that's out there that it can absolutely be broken open with. Like the Breloom is a really good suggestion. I'm sure there's something else that can even further abuse that situation. Like there's always Pokemon with attacks that do more damage for each special condition on the opponent's defending Pokemon, and I think that could be a situation that we're looking at. Green code. Nothing too interesting there. 2 new trainer cards to talk about, and then another couple of cards that aren't all that great. So Blaine's Quiz Show, just don't even bother. Ear-ringing bell, don't even bother. Confusion, if they change the rules for Confusion to go back to like the base set days where you had to flip a coin to retreat out of it, I'd be all for it. But we don't live in such a world. The Liepard, if the attack cost was a little less than Dark Double Colorless, I could see it being potentially useful if there was a way to copy its attack. Because it does block your opponent from attacking during the next turn if they're a basic Pokemon. And again, we're going into a tag team centric format, which means everything's a basic. We're in big basics. Again, only if its attack can be copied. I'm not going to play a Liepard deck and try to do well with it. We got a white code. First one in a little bit here. Munchlask, another baby Pokemon with interesting ability. Reset Stamp. We have a comeback card again. It's not N, but it's still good. Your opponent shuffles their hand into their deck and draws a card for each of the remaining prize cards. So it's kind of like N, but you don't get the hand refreshment. The Aegislash is our pseudo Garbodor, but in reverse. We do more damage for each item card in our discard pile. So it's 10 times, and then you max out at 130 damage for 1 colorless energy, so you can theoretically splash in anything, but it's a stage 2, so where are you going to get it? Its ability, though, is if it's knocked out by damage from an attack, you put it back into your hand instead of discarding it. So potentially there's some cool recovery with it, but other than that, I don't see it being good. It takes too much to set up. We don't have a format where you can search it out reliably. I just don't like. To me, that's 3 strikes, even though it was only 2 things, that's still 3 strikes. It's just because stage 2s just they're not consistent. Green code. Licks go crazy. Discard a random card from your opponent's hand, discard the top card of your opponent's deck, and discard an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. That is a little bit going crazy, isn't it? From the Licky. Interesting. I can say that being played as a meme. White code. Got a Wimpod, Doublade, a Magneton, a Bibarel, Araquanid, which I don't think is a particularly good card, and Chandelure, which is an interesting card. Chandelure, you do 10 plus 60. You discard the top 5 cards of your deck. You do 60 more damage for each Pokemon you discard in this way. Then you put any number of fire Pokemon you discarded onto your bench. There's something to do there that's going to... There's that Incineroar where you do more damage, and then there's other fire types with abilities. I can't think of them off the top of my head. But there's something there that can be busted open and make something that's really fun. I don't think it'll be good, but I think it could be really fun. One of those decks that, man, when this thing gets set up, it's just unstoppable. I can see that being a potential for the Chandelure. But it's going to be one of those decks that like sets up like less than 10% of the time. We got another white code. Getting on a little bit of a roll with whiteys. Grimsley we can talk about. Oh, and I got the Mewtwo. Alright. So Grimsley is another supporter from the set. You move 3 damage counters from one of your opponent's Pokemon to another one of their Pokemon. Just think about that. If you're playing like Tina and spell tags, you misplace some damage. You can rearrange it, set up your math. Or if you're like, oh, my opponent damaged themselves for whatever reason, that throws off my math. I can now kind of modify that situation. So the Mewtwo doesn't have an attack printed on it. It's not a GX attack. But it gets to copy any EX or GX attack as long as you have the proper energy to do so. I mean, that is just... It's brutal, to be fair. There's so many things, like the Prominent Solgaleo, just literally everything. There's so many different GX cards that have things that have attacks that'd be very, very useful if it weren't on that particular card. Then its GX attack, for its cost, does 200 damage, which is very nice. But if it has 1 extra energy attached to it, you heal all damage from all of your Pokemon. Come on! That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. Now, what would also be cool is if I drew a hit that wasn't a Psychic type Pokemon, because now I'm at 3 of them. 3 of them and a trainer card. But that Mewtwo, man. Whew. Just think about that card in Expanded. I'm talking about going back 7 years-ish. Got a white code again. There's just so many things that it could do, and it's just disgusting to think about. Okay, we have a non-psychic GX attack. The hit, the Dragonite GX. It does one thing real well. Sky Judgment, 270 damage. Let me think about that. I think that knocks out darn near everything in the format. But for 5 energy. So there's your issue, 5 energy. Getting the 2 on there is not too bad. It's getting the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. You're going to burn through your triple accelerations energies if you build the deck around this Dragonite GX. But you're going to blow up everything in your path. And then it's got a GX attack of Mock Delivery GX. You may discard any number of cards from your hand until you have 9 or fewer cards. Draw until you have 10. It's not bad. It's kind of like a super-powered Sightseer, but like a GX attack. So it's obviously more of an important resource. Alright. Pretty sure we're over halfway through now. Green code. Nothing really cooking there. Meloetta is a little interesting. You get to attach an energy card to one of your tag team cards as its attack. It's a little interesting. The Escavalier, for its first attack, is 80 damage, but you don't do anything if they don't have damage counters on them. Nothing too interesting there. It's kind of filler cards. Although the Meloetta is at least semi-interesting. I'll be fair. First time I saw it, I wasn't like, wow, this card's complete garbage. I was like, moderately interesting. White code, white code. Haxorus. I gotta admit, I've not seen a Haxorus. Once during your turn before your attack, you may discard a stadium card in play. If you do, attach up to 3 in any combination of fire and metal energy cards from your hand to this Pokemon. And then you do 10 plus 40 for each energy attached to that Pokemon. Okay. It's not good. Moving on. If there was a more reliable way to accelerate fire and or metal energy, I would go that route as opposed to trying to use its ability. And then you gotta have it in hand, and it's just... You never have all the stuff you want in hand at one time, it seems like. And if you do, you just win. Green code. Giant Hearth. Okay, we can talk about Giant Hearth. Giant Hearth is a new stadium that gives fire Pokemon even more support. Once during your turn, you discard a card from your hand, search your deck for 2 fire energies, put them in your hand. Oh, look, I can use my welder right away. Yippee. The Leavanny is interesting, semi. Your grass Pokemon take 40 less damage from attacks, but it doesn't stack. If it's stacked, I'd be interested. But it doesn't, so guess what? I'm not interested. I'm gonna run out of room for colorless Pokemon in my sorting tray here. The show must go on. Green code. Two trainers. Oh, it's probably junk. Alright. So Pokemaniac is semi-interesting Pokemon search as a supporter. You get to search your deck for 3 Pokemon that have a retreat cost of 4. Not 3, not 2, not 5. 4. Put them in your hand. So, interesting. It's obviously got to be targeted for a very specific type of deck. Karate Bell, however, if you are behind on prizes, your attacks cost fighting energy less. You mean to tell me you wouldn't want to, Lucario for free? What's it called? Aurasphere for free? I can see some things, some shenanigans with that getting played out. Whimsicott could be semi-interesting. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may search your deck for a card and put it in your hand. It's not bad. I don't know where I'd fit it in, but it's not bad. Green code. This has been the box of Xurkitries, that's for darn sure. Not that I really mind. The Xurkitries are a pretty good card. And if we're going to build some sort of Beast Box decks around that Naganadel GX, which I haven't shown you yet, but I will before the video's out, I mean, you're going to want a couple of them. One for discard and one to actually use. Green code. Zygarde is semi-interesting. Zygarde, any Pokemon named Zygarde or Zygarde GX do 20 more damage, and it does stack, and it's before weakness and resistance, like most damage buffs are. So now you're talking about swinging for 70, real easy with Cell Connector, if that's still the name of the attack. It's been a minute since I played some Zygarde GX. but it's not bad, especially for a basic Pokemon. If Berkeley Hill were still around, I'd like it a little more. But as Pokemon likes to do, they like to take away all the cards that I like. They specifically target me, and my lack of success is cards they need to rotate. That's a joke, by the way. They do this so they can make more money, which is just how the world works. We got a green code. Getting low on packs. Looks like I got 7 packs left here. Blizzard Town. I don't see it being very useful in current format. I see it being nice and expanded if you expect a lot of Night March. Pokemon with 40 HP or less remaining can't attack. Could be interesting. But other than that, the rest of this pack is kind of junk. Green code. Ooh, Blues Tactics. One of the supporters I think is going to be key in this new format. At the end of your turn, draw cards until you have 8 in your hand. It's not the immediate gratification that you're looking for, but is it still a very, very useful card? Absolutely. The Noivern, Boom Burst, 1 energy, do 20 damage to everything. Not terrible. It's a stage 1, so I kind of tone my expectations down, especially because no reliable way to search. Electros. Once during your turn before you attack, if this Pokemon is in your hand, you have at least 4 Lightning Energy cards in play. You may play this Pokemon onto your bench. If you do, move any number of Lightning Energies from your other Pokemon to this Pokemon. And then its attack swings for 130 damage, and your opponent can't retreat. It's an interesting card that you get to just kind of lay down out of nowhere. I don't know where it best fits, but it's kind of just a general rule of thumb. Any card that allows you to break pre-existing rules, so to speak, like just being able to play stage 2 straight to your bench, it's worth looking into. Alright. So still got 5 hits in the box. We got 6 packs left, including this one that I'm opening in my hands right now. White code. Come on, let's get some magic. Let's get 2 more hits. Let's get 2 more hits. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? Oh, we got the Dark City and the new Giratina. So let's take a look at those 2 cards, because those are the gems of the pack. Dark City, basic dark Pokemon, have 0 retreat cost. Not bad. Free retreat, always good. The Giratina, however, Dimension Breach. When you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench during the turn, you may discard an energy from special energy, rather, from your opponent's active Pokemon. Its attack is kind of lackluster, to 70 damage, causes confusion for a relatively high cost. The other Giratina is significantly better. The one that Dimension Door, you do 10 damage to 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. We like that one more. But if you're ever in the need of a Pokemon ability that can discard special energy, well, you have your answer now. Right, buddy? I'm sure some of you have realized that my cat likes to get involved on the videos as well, even though he doesn't necessarily have the best opinions on the state of the game and such. We got a white code. Slowpoke and Psyduck GX. When I heard that that was getting made, I thought to myself, well, that's just going to be a promo box. It's going to be complete and utter garbage, isn't it? It's not. For 2 water energy, you discard any number of supporter cards from your hand. You do 40 damage for each supporter card you discard in that way. You can hit some good numbers with that. Combine that with Misties and other forms of draw support. I'm sure that you can make all sorts of goofy things happen. GX attack does 10 plus damage for water. You flip a coin, it does 100 more damage. If you have 6 extra energy cards, 6 extra water energy cards attached to it in addition to the cost, you get to flip 10 coins. So it's still a meme, don't get me wrong. But it's a meme that can literally destroy everything. Alright. 4 packs. One more hit. One more hit. No, not in this pack. So we have Flying EMZ Air Slash. So any Pokemon that has the Air Slash attack printed on it can use this attack. So it's kind of like the old TM cards, you know. For Quadruple Colorless, you swing for 180 and you prevent all attacks, including damage, done to this Pokemon during your next turn. It's not a bad card. This Jinx, Ominous Posture is its ability. Once during your turn, you may move 1 damage counter from one of your Pokemon to another one of your Pokemon. It kind of reminds me of the older Jinx. I want to say it was somewhere in that mid XY area, or you got to heal 10 damage if it was your active Pokemon. It's kind of a similar idea. I don't know how relevant 10 damage is going to be in a format of GXs and 270, 260, 280 HP attackers. We'll find out. Could be very, very useful potentially. Got a green code. If it wasn't for that reset stamp, this pack would be complete and utter junk. Oh. Two packs. Green code. And going for that last pack magic, aren't we? Slumbering Force is interesting. We'll talk about that a little bit here. This Talonflame is not, so we'll get to Slumbering Force. So during your mid-turn, I should say in between turns exchange, when you check your sleep, this stadium forces the affected Pokemon to flip 2 coins to get both heads in order to wake up. It's not bad. That combos with that Amoonguss in a very, very strong way to create a soft lock, especially now that Guzma's out of the area, out of the rotation, I should say. Creates situations that you get to, I don't know, just kind of get the, if you play the right kind of cards, you double custom catcher, you pull up your opponent, you sleep them, and you let them sit. No last pack magic. You can always hope, right? Well, that's a pretty lackluster pack. So, that being said, I'm back. We are back, I should say. We are back. Orange Dragon Gaming's back. There was a time there where we were down due to the move. As you can tell, the background behind me is different. It's because I'm in the basement of my new house. Yay! So we're going to be able to start producing content again here. We're going to be able to start streaming again here. We're going to, show you. We got a setup, not unlike how we were before. We're going to have an actual PC setup right about here. Should be a pretty good time if you ask me. I'm really looking forward to kind of getting back in the swing of things, producing some more content, doing some more live stuff. I'm going to have some fun with it. That being said, the other key that I would like to say about this set, the other kind of big thing, is there are so many cards in sets like these. There's always going to be something that is thought of as complete and utter junk to start off with that proves out to be good. Just think back to pre-releases of days past, like the Meowth, I want to say Ancient Origins, maybe. That's kind of what I'm thinking. It did 50 damage, but only but 50 damage as a snipe only if the opponent's Pokemon had damage counters on it. We didn't think that card was going to be any good for a minute, and then we're like, oh, they printed this Decidueye GX that does Feather Arrow. Well, that combo's pretty good with this. So sometimes you just gotta wait a couple sets, and then next thing you know, you got what you needed. So I'll show off the hits from the other boxes as well here. So I purchased 3 boxes open the other two to try to familiarize myself with the set's contents a little bit more. So this was box number 3, the one I opened on camera. Box number 2 featured these bad boys. So I pulled 2 Rowlets, Alolan Executors, Double Chew, Aerodactyl, Chomptina, and the Naganadel GX. Ultra Conversion is a very powerful ability. You discard an Ultra Beast, you draw 3 cards. We like it. It's attack Venom Shot. It's basically saying, I wish to kill a Dedenne GX this turn. Psychic Triple Close, 170 Bench Snipe. It's a stage 1, triple acceleration. Things as good as gone. Then from box numero uno. Yeah, that's right. Wow, I gotta move more stuff. I'm gonna block out a room here. I'll just do that. So box number 1, I got 8 hits. Take it. We got another Slowpoke Psyduck, 2 Keldeos, Umbreon Darkrai, which I think is going to be one of my favorite cards of the set. Black Lance is such a strong attack. I love it. 150 damage, and then you snipe a GX or EX for another 60 for 3 energy. It's really good. Dark Moon GX. Man, I love when they print cards like this. For Colorless Plus, your opponent can't play any trainer cards from the hand during the next turn, and if you have 5 extra energy cards that are dark attached to it, your opponent's active Pokemon is knocked out. So think about that for a moment. You're playing Pikarom against me, I'm playing Dark Box. I tag switch and do a bunch of crap, I get all the energy on there. I double custom catcher your Alolan Raichu on the bench that has 5 energy on it because you did something, you full blitz onto it to set up its GX attack. I pull that up, I Dark Moon, you can't play anything from your hand, I've knocked that Pokemon out. What are you going to do? Not going to do it much, I'll tell you that. Weavile GX lets us rearrange Dark Energy as we like to. Cards like that are pretty much always good. Unless the energy type itself has literally nothing going for it. Its attack, underwhelming, 130 damage, whoop-de-doo. GX attack, search your deck for any number of basic Pokemon and put them onto your bench. I mean, it is what it is. It could theoretically be useful. Wild GX sucks, in my opinion. I just don't think it's very good. Aerodactyl GX, I kind of touched on it earlier. Its ability forces your opponent's basic Pokemon's attacks to cost 1 more colorless energy. It's a nice attack damage for 120 for fighting double colorless. And then its GX attack for 1 fighting energy, you do 50 times per energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon, which is pretty solid. We're in a day and age where we got tag teams, they got their big GX attacks that require additional energy costs. You can come out of nowhere and kind of blow something up, especially if you play the Pokemon Research Lab. That being said, I hope this video, this box opening / hey, we're back again, because I took a bit of a break before video, hopefully you learned a little something about the Unified Minds, and hopefully we can we'll get some creative juices flowing in time to get some of our guys off to the DC Open. And we do have another friend of ours, a couple friends of ours actually, that are going to the World Championships to actually participate in it. So good luck to those guys. We're going to call it a night here. Gotta clean up this mess. I mean, start doing all this stuff, start making a mess real quick and easy. So that being said, good night, take it easy, and have fun playing Pokemon.